You were told this is life. Wake up tired. Work a job you hate. Numb yourself with food, phones, and fiction. Scroll until sleep. Repeat. No breakdown. No rebellion. Just a low hum of discontent. A manageable misery. You're not dead, but you're not alive either. And they call this normal. But Nietzsche would not call this life. He would call it decay. Not the sudden collapse of the body, but the slow erosion of the will. You were not born mediocre. You were trained to be. Conditioned to accept less. Programmed to stay quiet. Rewarded for conformity, not brilliance. And now you defend it. You call it balance. You call it realistic. You call it just how things are. But mediocrity is not stability. It's sedation. It's a prison without bars. A sickness without fever. A death that doesn't announce itself. The most dangerous addictions are not chemical. They are philosophical. You're addicted to avoiding discomfort. Addicted to convenience. Addicted to being liked. And most of all, addicted to staying. The sane. Nietzsche believed. Life is not meant to be tolerated. It is meant to be confronted, transcended, shattered, and remade. So ask yourself, when did you stop aiming at greatness? And who benefits from you never remembering that you were born to be more? Mediocrity doesn't come with chains. It comes with comfort, soft beds, fast food, endless entertainment, emotional numbness dressed as peace. It's not painful enough to reject, not satisfying enough to fulfill. That's the trick, to keep you comfortable enough to stay. Nietzsche warned that man would trade greatness for comfort the moment suffering became optional. But suffering isn't the enemy. It's the cost of becoming. Look around. How many people have chosen sedation over challenge? How many call their survival success? They've built a life so padded with softness that they forgot they were built for resistance. Comfort becomes a cage precisely because it's so subtle. You don't feel imprisoned. You feel relaxed. You don't feel trapped. You feel safe. But safety has a price. Your edge, your fire, your will. The mind doesn't grow when everything is easy. The spirit doesn't rise when nothing's at stake. Mediocrity is not just a lifestyle. It's a philosophy of retreat. You stopped asking for more, not because you're at peace, but because you're afraid. Afraid of what pain would demand. Afraid of who you'd become without the lullabies of modern life. And that fear? That's the doorway. Most people walk away from it. You were meant to walk through it. We live in a world that praises smallness, not humility. Smallness, playing it safe, not standing out, being agreeable, going along with the crowd. We celebrate the person who fits in more than the one who breaks free. Nietzsche called this the morality of the herd, where the highest virtue is to not disturb anyone. But you weren't made to be invisible. You weren't made to fade. You were made to rupture, to clash, to collide with life. And yet, everything around you rewards conformity. Be nice. Be quiet. Don't question. Don't want too much. Don't aim too high. Why? Because your bigness threatens the fragile system of collective comfort. If you grow, you expose their stagnation. If you speak truth, you shame their silence. If you rise, you remind them they're still on their knees. So they call you arrogant, intense, crazy, too much. And you believe them, because it's easier to be accepted than to be hated for your hunger. But Nietzsche didn't fear hatred. He feared dullness. The death of the spirit in favor of social approval. Stop shrinking. You don't need their permission to become. Find balance. They say as if balance is the highest goal. As if life is a tightrope of calm neutrality, where you never fall too far or rise too high. But Nietzsche would reject that. He didn't want balance. He wanted extremes. Because real transformation happens at the edges, where things break, where pressure exposes truth, Where intensity strips away illusion, balance sounds wise, but often it's just another name. For stagnation, you balance your ambition with fear, your desire with guilt, your power with politeness, and you end up lukewarm, not because you lack fire, but because you've been trained to dilute it. This is not evolution. It's sedation. Greatness doesn't come from balancing opposites. It comes from integrating them, from holding contradiction without flinching, from burning on both ends and surviving the flame. They'll say you're unstable. Let them. You're not here to walk the line. You're here to redraw it. Balance isn't the goal. Becoming is dot, and becoming doesn't happen in the center. Dot, it happens in the storm. At some point, society stopped just tolerating mediocrity. It moralized it. Being average isn't just normal. It's noble. Trying too hard? That's arrogant. Wanting more? That's greedy. Speaking boldly? That's offensive. We've created a world where hunger is shameful and apathy is virtuous. Nietzsche saw this as the inversion of values, where strength is called evil and weakness is sanctified. You're told to lower your voice, your goals, your fire, because it might make someone uncomfortable. But who decided that discomfort was immoral? Who decided that not offending is more important than becoming? This is the death of excellence. We now praise the man who blends in, who doesn't disturb the system. We've turned quiet compliance into virtue. But what is mediocrity if not slow self-betrayal? Every time you choose silence over truth, comfort over courage, ease over excellence, you die a little. And they call that maturity, but Nietzsche would call it surrender. You weren't born to be neutral. You were born to burn. People don't just fear failure. They fear greatness, because greatness requires loss, isolation, rejection. It demands you leave behind everything mediocre, including the parts of yourself you've grown comfortable with. Nietzsche believed that most people sabotage their own becoming, not because they lack talent, but because they fear what that talent will cost them. Greatness isolates. It forces you out of the herd. It asks you to choose your values over your popularity. And most people aren't ready to lose the approval of the mediocre to become something more, so they stay small. Not because it's safe, but because it's familiar. They fear becoming exceptional, because exceptional means alone. But you can't evolve without exile. You must betray the small version of yourself to awaken the real one. Greatness is not a gift, it's a consequence. A result of saying no to mediocrity 1,000 times, even when it hurts. And it always hurts, but it's the pain that proves it matters. Why do people cling to mediocrity? Because it's known. It's safe, predictable. It doesn't ask questions. It doesn't threaten the ego. It lets you sleep, not restfully, but undisturbed. Nietzsche, that man would rather live in the certainty of a cage than risk the uncertainty of freedom, because freedom is violent. It destroys your false identities. It exposes the parts of you that are still fake. It demands that you suffer and grow. But mediocrity offers a trade. Give up your fire, and you'll never have to feel the cold. So you make peace with the job you hate. You justify staying with people who drain you. You call numbness peace, and you keep pretending that this is what life is. But deep down, you know, the life you're living isn't yours. It's a simulation, a polished version of what's acceptable. And the longer you stay in it, the more addicted you become to not feeling. Mediocrity is anesthesia, and most people would rather stay sedated than face the truth of what they could be. Your potential is not a promise, it's a threat, because to realize your potential, you must destroy everything that protects your comfort. You must kill habits, beliefs, friendships, even identities that are built around who you used to be. And most people don't want that. They want progress without pain, growth without sacrifice. But Nietzsche said, Become who you are, not who you pretend to be, not who they told you to be. Who you are, and becoming is war, not against others, but against your own resistance. Mediocrity is the path of least resistance, but becoming, that's a brutal climb. It's looking in the mirror and admitting, I've been lying to myself. That's waking up and choosing to suffer meaningfully instead of comfortably. Most people don't reject their potential because they don't see it. They reject it because they do. They see how massive they could be, and they tremble at what it would cost. The mediocre will always reject the one who rises. Nietzsche knew this. He called it resentment, the hatred of the strong by the weak. Not because the strong are cruel, but because their very existence is an offense. You don't have to say a word, just standing tall, thinking sharply, moving boldly. It disturbs the fragile order. You become a threat by simply being fully alive, and they'll attack you, not with weapons, with words. They'll say you've changed, that you're selfish, that you think you're better, that you forgot where you came from. No, you remembered where you're going. You remembered you were not built to be caged by small minds and shallow dreams. And so you'll walk alone. But in that exile, you'll find clarity, depth, fire. Outcasts are not broken. They are the ones who chose truth over comfort and were punished for it. Let them exile you. Means you're finally becoming dangerous. Power is expensive, not the fake kind, status, image, applause, real power. The kind Nietzsche spoke of, the will to shape your life into something fierce, beautiful, and undeniable. To choose that path, you must lose things, and not just external comforts, but internal illusions. You'll lose your excuses, your victimhood, your favorite lies. You'll lose the ability to blame others for your stagnation. And that's terrifying, because once you stop pretending, you become responsible. No more hiding behind childhood, behind trauma, behind society. Power says, it's all on you now. That's why most people never take it. They'd rather be ruled than rule themselves. But you are not most people. You feel it, don't you? That strange pull, that fire. Under the numbness. It's your future self, calling you back to war. Answer. Mediocrity thrives on the lie of later. Later I'll start. Later I'll change. Later I'll become. But Nietzsche said, the moment you delay your becoming, you betray your life. Time is not your friend. It is your most brutal enemy, disguised as opportunity. Because every day you waste pretending that normal is enough, the fire inside you dies a little more. Not with a scream, with a sigh. Mediocrity doesn't kill you violently. It drains you quietly. And the tragedy is, you'll never know how alive you could have been until it's too late. So stop waiting for permission, for motivation, for the perfect plan. Start now. In the mess, in the confusion, in the silence, because the clock doesn't care about your fears. It only keeps ticking. To escape mediocrity, you need ritual. Not religion, discipline, devotion, repetition, violence. You need daily war with yourself. Wake early, lift heavy, read deeply, think freely, walk alone, cut distractions, burn comfort. This is not self-improvement. It is self-destruction, because the man you are now, the one addicted to mediocrity, must die. And he won't die easily. He'll seduce you with old habits, old cravings, old softness. You must become cruel to your excuses, vicious to your weakness. You must train as if your soul depends on it, because it does. The herd will call it extreme, but what's truly extreme is wasting your one life hiding from who you were born to be. The day will come when mediocrity no longer tempts you. You won't crave their approval, their ease, their noise. You'll sit alone in silence and feel whole. Not because you've reached some final state, but because you've become undeniably awake. You'll see the world clearly, the lies, the sedation, the masks, and you'll pity them, not with arrogance, but with grief, because you'll remember that you once lived there too. Asleep, addicted, numb. But now, you are sharp, focused, alive. No longer addicted to normal, because you've remembered what normal really was, a trap. So now what? Now, you burn it. Burn the scripts, the labels, the safety nets. Mediocrity was never yours. It was given to you, taught, preached, repeated until you wore it like skin. But skin can shed, and you can become something terrible and beautiful, a man of fire, of clarity, of edge. Not for them, for you, not to be admired, to be unleashed. You are not normal. You are not average. You are not finished. Mediocrity was the lie. Now comes the truth. You are always meant to be more.